Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. This is the second vlog of mine for Orilium. I guess technically we're at the 12th. So we're well into the second week. I so far have finished 4 of my 8, and I am currently reading When the Moon Hangs Low by Nadia. What is her last name? I'm trying to look on my books. Nadia Hashimi. This is a story of an Afghani family who grew up in Afghanistan before the Taliban came in, and now that the Taliban is there, they are trying to escape to freedom so that life can continue for the wife and her daughter as the wife remembers. And through some unfortunate events, the mother is on her own. Her husband has died, and so it makes it even more imperative for them to leave Afghanistan, because without an adult male relative, she's essentially trapped in her house. And how this predicament really starts to affect them becomes obvious to her when she ends up having to seek medical care and only has her 13-year-old son to escort her to the hospital, and they get accosted. It's a very hard story in some moments to read, but it highlights the things I love about reading, and that is that it allows me to step in another person's shoes and get their perspective, at least for a time. So I'm really enjoying this in that it's enlightening. It does help me to appreciate what refugees and in specific the Afghani women who have grown up under the Taliban, how they feel about different things, and that isolation that they feel. So I am going to get back to it. I'm about halfway through. The difference with this one compared to the other Nadia Hashimi book that I have read, which is Sparks Like Stars. It's right on the shelf right there. That's why I keep looking over there. Is that this one goes back and forth a little bit between the mother's point of view and the son's. And so hearing both the female experience and the male experience through this is very enlightening, and understanding their motivations has been, again, enlightening. So I'm going to get back to it, and I will check in with you at the end of the book. Alright, friends, so I have finished When the Moon Hangs Low. And that is a great story. The only The only complaint that I have is we kind of have an ambiguous ending. So where I left off, our characters have gotten separated. Mother, daughter, and youngest son are together, and then the oldest son is has gotten separated from the family, and sorry, he's trying to reunite with his family, and the ending is totally left out for your interpretation. And it's quite interesting. I really enjoyed cat fur. I really enjoyed the second part and watching our male character just really grow. And realize what it means to be an adult, and to not and learn what things as a child that we miss out on until we are adults. So great story. And now I am struggling. I have 5 of my 8 books read, but I do not have the audiobook for any of the last 3. And I have 2 blankets to finish in the next week and a half or so. So, yeah. I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do. I am leaning toward doing Book Eaters next. But again, I will have to see. I may do like actually I have a new Sanderson book, so I may do that one first and just listen to that audiobook. But when I figure it out for sure, I'll let you know. Hello. So it's been nearly 2 weeks since I last checked in. I started Book Eaters with the audio, and that audiobook is just not for me. I tried listening while I was crocheting, and I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in the book up to where I listened to. And I was like, okay, well, this is one that I'm going to have to follow along with the text. Even with holding my ebook and listening and following along, I was not enjoying it. Like, I was not retaining the information. I don't know if it's the narrator's voice is so soothing that my brain just kind of turns off, or what. It does remind me a lot of the sleep story that I listen to at night. And so I didn't want to DNF the book because of something that I had caused. So I started with just reading it from my ebook, and I am enjoying it so much. I have a few parts with the book that I'm a little confused with, but overall, I'm really enjoying it. So the premise of this book is we have a woman who has been raised as a princess, and in this world of book eaters. Now, female book eaters are rare, and so there's a lot of they're held in high regard in their community. And basically she has left the world of the book eaters for reasons kind of unknown at the moment, although I can infer. When a book eater has a child, they get to stay with the child for 3 years, and then the child belongs to the family that she bore the child into. And so she gets separated from her firstborn and then has a second child. And this child is a little bit different. He's what's called a mind eater. So book eaters, their sustenance comes from books. So they eat the book, they get the knowledge from it, and move on. Mind eaters eat people's minds, and that's how they get their sustenance, that's how they get their knowledge. And so it's just a very interesting premise, but the mind eaters are kind of frowned upon, and unless they're on this special medication that allows them to become like book eaters and they can eat the books instead of people's minds. Well, our main character has a mind eater son, and the family who makes the medicine has gone into hiding. And so she's trying to reconnect with them, or to get connected with them, so that her son can continue living. It's a very interesting premise, and there's a lot to wrap your head around as you're starting it. So it is one that I think if you aren't big into fantasy, that it might not be for you. As I'm reading it and following along with everything, there's just a lot of moving parts in it, and I have to have full focus in the book to keep into it. But I am going to get back to it and drink my coffee and start my morning, and I will check in when I get to probably the 2/3 mark. I'm not quite to a third. I think I'm about a quarter of the way in. But I foresee a lot of ways to spoil this book on accident. So I'm going to pause here, and I will check in with you guys later. All right, well, I have finished The Book Eaters. I went to bed really early last night after our last day of co-op, and then woke up at like 10 p.m. and finished the last half of the book before being able to fall back asleep. I enjoyed the end of this book so much. Once I had troubles with the audiobook, and I think the audiobook just wasn't for me. But reading the actual text, I had so much fun with this book. We have characters who are kind of morally gray, and seeing all the conundrums that life is bringing to them was very eye-opening, I guess, on some levels for how different people might struggle with different things, or how some events in life will lead to choices being made. It kind of reminded me, I was helping my daughter with her home schoolwork this morning, and she kept looking at the book or at the text that we were looking at, and this is so patriarchal and sexist, and she has no idea. The Book Eaters has a lot of that very traditional kind of idea, medieval slash Dark Ages viewing of men and women roles, and what men should know versus what women should know. And so that plays some role in this book, and I just really had a great time. I probably will give this 4.25 stars. I had a great time with it, but I did have a couple false starts that I think took a little bit of the enjoyment out of it for me. And so that is playing a little bit of a role in my rating, but it's a great book. I just don't feel that it is the same level of the Book of Doors. Yeah. Which is why I picked this one. The author is of the Book Eaters had a blurb on the cover of the Book of Doors, which was a 5-star read for me. And that's going to lead me to what I'm reading next. I am probably not 100% sold on it yet. But I am leaning toward reading the Enchanted Fandom Book of the Month. I'm trying to pull it up. House of Bane and... where is it? There it is. House of Bane and Blood is the title of this one. And so I'm going to start that, and I will give you guys my thoughts as I go through, and I'll check in later. So I am 140-ish pages in, just over a third of the way, in House of Bane and Blood. The biggest enjoyment I'm having out of this one so far is the banter. There's a lot of banter between Mila and Nico. The premise of this book is Mila has agreed to an arranged marriage to save her family from financial ruin. Well, she didn't really have a lot of say in who the husband was going to be. We end up with Nico being basically the highest bidder. He offers double of what anyone else does for the privilege of marrying Mila. And there are some caveats in this. It's a 6-week trial period to begin with. And we quickly find out that Mila's family and Nico's family are like blood rivals. Think Romeo and Juliet-esque. And so there's a lot of parts in here that we're seeing kind of that feud, especially on Mila's point of view. She definitely holds on to that grudge, and some of that could be because of the harm that this feud has caused to her personally. But Nico's very much along the lines of, this is our parents' feud, not ours. So it's kind of an interesting balance to see between these two characters. We do have a few moments when we get Nico's point of view, but so far the majority has been from Mila's point of view. But I am definitely enjoying it, and I'm gonna get back into it. I am kind of worried that my body is about to crash. And we joke among the other co-op teachers of our bodies know when a break is coming, and they know when to get sick. And I feel that my body has gone, we have been well almost all year, and now we're going to be sick. But it could just be high pollen counts. Who knows? But I'm going to get to reading and hope that I don't end up not finishing my TBR for the month. I'll check in later. Okay, so I have just finished House of Bane and Blood. And that book is left on a huge cliffhanger. And the next book is not out yet. So I have to wait until it is. Luckily for me, it comes out in just a few days. It comes out on Thursday, Wednesday. So I only have to wait a couple of days, and it is included in KU, so I can start it right away. Got interrupted by a phone call. So the book has so many twists and turns in it that I'm really scared to talk too much about it, because there are secrets and layers and everything else in this one. It reads less like a romance to me and more like a thriller, to be honest, because you're constantly trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening, and how to, and processing new information at every point. I love the sassy female main character, and the male character, main character, takes no nonsense at all. So it makes it a really fun read. And I just had a great time with it. I really did. And that leads me to my final book for the month, The Unseelie Bargain. I don't exactly remember what this one is about. Let me look it up and I will let you know. The Unseelie Bargain, R.A. Bowling, by R.A. Bowling. This is her debut novel. And we have our main character, Aurora. She has made a bargain with the Fae King, the Unseelie King, to protect her family. And she is brought into the Unseelie world and kind of just has to figure out life from there. Unseelie bargains are not always what they seem, and so we're gonna see some twists and turns in this one, and I'm excited to start it. I will give an update as I get into it, and I will let you know my thoughts. Now halfway through the Unseelie Bargain, and I'm not sure if it's the size of the text. This book does have larger text than some of the others I've read lately, or if it is the storyline or a mix of both. But I don't want to put this book down, and haven't wanted to since about chapter 8. The premise of this story is we have Aurora, and she joins in the Unseelie King's tournament for the place, or with the hopes of winning a year of pay to complete some tasks that he has in the Fae world. As Aurora travels into the Fae world, she kind of knows that the Unseelie King is hiding things, but she doesn't know what he's hiding or why. It's been a real adventure to kind of see not only the Unseelie King's character and the banter between the two main characters. I've really enjoyed this book so far. Do I think I'm going to finish it tonight? Probably not. I think that I'm going to get tired pretty soon, and so I will not be finishing the book tonight, but I think I will have it finished tomorrow. And I'm really excited to find out what happens. The one thing that I am hoping is that this one does not leave me on a cliffhanger, because the second book has not been announced as far as I can tell from Storygraph. I can do a little more digging and see, but right now there is only one book, and I think if it leaves on a huge cliffhanger, that I won't go back and finish the book if it takes too long to have a second book. So I'm going to get back to reading, and I will check in at the end of the book. So I have now finished the Unseelie Bargain. I am not 100% happy where that one ended. We have a lot of ends that are still not wrapped up. Did I know that this was a possibility? Yes, because it's a book 1. So that means there's a book 2 coming sometime. I just don't know when. But great book. I enjoyed it. It really was a very quick read. I think I read the book in less than 24 hours, and I do not regret reading it at all. But there we go. 8 books read during the month of April, and that means that I have completed my spring equinox semester for Wild Druid form. So I will return to school come August for the second semester, and hopefully we'll have just as successful as a month. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.